Welcome students. In today's video session, we will study about another vegetative part of the plant, that is the stem. In the last video session, we have discussed about root, its characteristics, its types, its reasons and modifications. Today, we are going to study about the stem, its characteristics and its modifications. The stem is the vegetative part of the plant which grows above the ground in the direction of light. It shows positive phototropism and it grows above the ground. Stem is the part of plant which bears branches, leaves, flowers and fruits. Stem develops from the plumal part of the seed. As we know that seed has two parts, plumal and radicle. The stem develops from the plumal. It bears nodes and internodes. Stem bears nodes and internodes. It is a special characteristic of stem. Nodes are the places from where new branches, leaves arises. The place between two nodes is called internodes. So, stem is the part of plant which bears nodes and internodes. Young stem is generally green in color. As you must have seen in some plants that when they are young, the stem is green in color. So, young stem is green in color generally, and later on as it gets matured, it becomes non-green and green. The young stem is green to help in the process of photosynthesis. Stem is responsible for conduction of water, minerals and food. Stem performs very important function of conduction of water, mineral and food from one place to another. Like roots absorb water and that water is required in leaves for the process of photosynthesis. Stem is connecting root and leaves and transporting water from roots to leaves. Along with water, obviously minerals are being transported. Likewise, inside the leaves, food is being prepared and this food is need to be transported to each and every part of the plant. Again, stem is there which helps in conduction of substances. So it is very important function of stem to conduct water, mineral, food, etc. And another function of stem is that it helps to spread out branches. Stem, as we have stated earlier, stem bears branches, fruits, flowers, leaves, etc. So it spread out branches, leaves, fruits and help in providing required substances like light, sunlight, gases to each and every part and each and every leaf. So these are some important characteristics of stem. Now we will discuss about modifications. So now we are going to study about modifications of stem. Stems are modified to perform various functions. As we know, modification means change in shape and size of plant part when it acquires some other functions. Sometimes along with its main function and sometimes it leaves the main function and performs the new function only. So, stems are modified to perform various functions. These functions are like storage of food, respiration, photosynthesis. These are various functions for which stems are modified. We can categorize these stem modifications in various categories. Here we are going to study about stem modifications in three broad categories. Modifications when stem becomes underground, when stem becomes subaerial and when stem is aerial and modified. So we are going to study about stem modifications here. The very first type of stem modification, when stem is modified and grows under the ground. In this case, stem grows under the ground. This modification is basically for storage of food. When we will discuss about types of this modification, when stem becomes underground, we will see that this is basically for storage of food. Following are the types of modifications where stem becomes underground. The very first one is called rhizome. In this condition, the stem becomes fleshy and horizontal. You can see over here diagram. Nodes and internodes are clearly visible. Its example are turmeric and ginger. We have seen in our kitchen turmeric and ginger. Just look at these and you will find these horizontal lines present over there, which are nodes, and the space between two lines is internodes. So it is an example of rhizome. The second type is called tuber. In this type, the stem becomes swollen. The tuber shows some depressions in the form of nodes. You can see over here the almost oval, circular or spherical structure shows depression at places, and these are the nodes. These nodes bears scale leaves and buds sometimes. A good example is potato. The third example of underground stem is cord. It is big as compared to rhizome and it is vertical. It is a basic difference between rhizome and cord. Rhizome is horizontal whereas cord is vertical in shape and it is big than rhizome. Circular lines with scales are present. These represent nodes. Scale bears scale leaves also. Example, colocasia and yam. The next is bulb. Bulb is also underground stem. The stem is highly condensed, having numerous leaves on that. You can see over here. The example is garlic and onion. This is the disc-shaped stem. You can see disc-shaped stem, and on that numerous compact leaves are present over there. The base of the leaves swell up to store food. The disc-like part is a stem, and along with fleshy leaf it is called bulb. So this compact disc-shaped structure is the stem, which bears various fleshy leaves in a compact manner. This is called bulb. Example is garlic and onion. The second modification is called subaerial modification. In this condition, stem grows under the ground and comes above the ground, creeps on the ground. It means it is partially under the ground and partially above the ground. In such conditions, in these examples, vegetative propagation is very common, and we can say that modification is basically for the purpose of reproduction. Following are the examples of subaerial modifications. The very first is runners. Runners, the stem has long internodes. You can see in diagrams. In creepers, examples are present in the creepers. Root develops from nodes on the lower side and branches at the other side. It creeps above the ground, and with each node the roots develops inside the soil and stem above the ground. Examples are grass, strawberry. These are the examples of runners. Second is suckers. In this case, The branch of stem grows horizontally for some distance and then grow upward as a new leafy shoot. So the stem actually develops under the ground. If this is the ground position, you can see stem is developing under the ground, and from each node new roots are arising, and obliquely it is developing as a new plant. So if we see, we will find different plants are there, but under the ground all these are connected. Examples are pineapple and banana. The third example is stolon. Here stem grows under the ground and develops upward, giving rise to a new plant. It is somehow in an arc shaped. Stem grows under the ground and comes upward for a short distance, making an arc-like structure. Example, mint and jasmine. In mint and jasmine, the lateral branches grows as an arc, touches the ground for short distance and then grows inside. And the last example of subaerial modification is offset. Offset can be regarded as compact runners. The characteristic is like of runners, but the internodes are very small. A lateral branch with very short internode grows and node having a tuft of root is present. This is found basically in aquatic plants like Pistia, which is commonly known as water lettuce. So these four are example of subaerial modifications of stem. The third type of stem modification is called aerial modification. In this condition, the stem is completely above the ground. This modification may be for various purposes such as for protection, for support, for photosynthesis, etc. The first example of such modification is called tendrils. Tendrils are present in the creepers and climbers. Here, the axillary bud develops as a spirally coiled structure. It helps the plant to climb up. It is basically found in creepers and climbers plant. The good example is cucumber and pumpkin. Here we can see some spirally coiled structures which help the plant to climb in upward direction. The second example is thorns. Thorns are present in plants for protection. Sometimes axillary buds modify into hard and pointed woody structure called thorns. Examples are citrus plants like lemon, bougainvillea, etc. These thorns are for protection purpose. Next example is called phylloclades. Sometimes stem carry out the function of photosynthesis. It becomes green and fleshy. This modification is generally found in xerophytes. The stem becomes fleshy, green and flattened or cylindrical. Example is Opuntia, Euphorbia, etc. The next type of aerial modification is called cladode. It is actually the compact form of phylloclades. There are green fleshy stem with limited growth. The growth is only one internode long. Example, asparagus. So, following are the modifications of stem which are always above the ground, that is aerial. The next part we are going to study today is leaf. Leaf is the most important vegetative part of the plant as it carries out the function of photosynthesis. Leaves are green in color because it contains the photosynthetic pigment called chlorophyll. These are stunted and stretched structures which are generally flattened. Following are some characteristics of leaf. Leaves are photosynthetic organs. Leaves are green in color and flattened in structure. The leaf carry out very important function inside the body, plant body, that is photosynthesis. Now let's have a look on parts of a leaf. A typical leaf has three parts. Leaf base. This is the leaf base. Leaf base is the part of leaf which is attached to the node. There is a bud present in its axil. Between the leaf base and petiole, a bud is present. This bud is called axillary bud. In some plants, such as mimosa, leaf base may be swollen and then it is called pulvinous. In grass, sugarcane, banana, etc., leaf base covers a part of node and then it is called sheathing leaf base. Leaf base also contains stipule. Stipule are actually an outgrowth of leaf base to protect young axillary bud. It wraps up it covers up the stem part to protect this axillary bud. So in this view we can see stipule, and on that side we can find out axillary bud, which is shown in this diagram. So the characteristic of leaf, it is having a leaf base which sometimes wraps up the stem forming a stipule, and leaf always contains axillary bud at its base. The second part of leaf is called petiole. Petiole, this structure. Petiole are thin, long and generally tubular structure that holds leaf. It connects the leaf with the stem. Its size and shape may vary according to different species of plants. It helps the leaf to receive light and allows it to flutter in wind to get fresh air. With the help of this petiole, leaf moves in air and cools down itself and gets fresh air for various purposes like photosynthesis and respiration. The third and most important part of leaf is this lamina. The lamina, which is also called leaf blade. It is the main extended stretched part of the leaf, having veins and ventlets. You can see over here, these are veins and ventlets. Veins provide strength, keeps the leaf stretched and serve as transport channel for conduction of water, mineral and food. So these veins form a network inside the leaf and provides it strength, keeps it in stretched condition so that all the stomata are open and it is getting adequate amount of gases and it is getting sunlight. Also, network of veins help in transport of various substances from and to the leaves. Venation. The arrangement of veins and ventlets in leaf lamina is called venation. We have seen veins and ventlets in leaves, but these veins and ventlets in leaves are present in a particular arrangement, and that arrangement is called venation. The venation is of two types: reticulate venation and parallel venation. Reticulate venation is a type of venation where veins and ventlets are arranged in a network. These are present in a network manner. Such type of venation is called reticulate venation, and it is a characteristic feature of dicot plants. On the other hand, In parallel venation, veins and venulets run parallel to each other almost, and they do not form a network, but they form a parallel structure of veins and venulets. The parallel venation is a characteristic feature of monocot. Generally, most of the monocot plants show parallel venation. However, in some dicot plants, it may be seen also. So, there are two types of venation. Reticulate, where veins form network. It is found in dicot plants. And parallel venation, where veins form parallel lines. It is found in monocot plants. So students, now it is your assignment time. Some questions are here. These questions are based on the topic of stem only. We have started leaves also, but that will be continued in the next video session also. So today's assignment is based on the part stem only. The first question, write down functions of stem. Here you will write down the functions performed by a stem. Second question, what are nodes and internodes? You will explain about nodes and internodes. Third question, explain the underground modifications of stem. Here you will write down all the types of underground stem modifications with example and diagram. In the fourth question, you have to give examples of runners and suckers. Fifth question, what are functions of stem tendril? Stem tendril is a type of stem modification. So you will tell the functions, why it is modified, for performing which function, and also you will give the examples. And the sixth question is like how stem of xerophytes modified. There is a special modification which is seen in xerophytic plants. You have to name that and you will tell why it is modified so, and also you will give examples. So students, write down the answers of these questions and we will continue the next video with the topic leaf. Thank you.